Alright guys, it's time to start a new project. So, as you know, I sold a couple of things to help fund the shop, and that's on the way, but I just couldn't help myself, like a normal car guy. Came across another one, and come to find out they were getting ready to crush this thing. So, what I wanted to do is show you where I am with it already. A little bit of work had been done to it, not much, but just enough to get it running, but hadn't run very long, so I want to show you the condition of it. And it's an original dealer title, so I'm the second owner of it. It's really cool. Ain't much left for the truck, but I think you'll really like it, so let's get started on it. So here it is. This is a 1972 Chevy C20. So, story on this bad boy, I'll get a lot more details for you, but it had a service bed on the back for its entire life. It's been a work truck, obviously, and the owner somehow got it to his brother or gave it to his brother, I'm not really sure, but the brother just wanted a bed. So he pulls into this place with it on a trailer, and the guy I bought it from sees the truck, says, "What are you going to do with it?" And he says, "I'm going to strip the bed off and junk it." So the gentleman I bought it from said, "No sir, I'd like to take it." So he got it, and then he ended up having to move out of state to go to work, couldn't take this with him, so it came to this guy. So they hit me up. I tried to buy it before it was sold. The original buyer backed out on it. So they hit me up again, and without even thinking, I said, "Absolutely, when can I get it?" And we made a deal on it, so I brought it home. So what we're working with, it's got the original 350 in it. It's the old Custom Deluxe 20. And if any of you guys know anything about the custom camper, it's similar to the camper special that Ford ran. I'm not really sure on options and all that, so I'll be interested to see if you guys know anything, like what they may have come with differently, whether it be suspension or rear end, motor trans, whatever it may have been. But anyway, I'm curious to learn a little more about it. I do know why it was parked, and I'll show you that. And I'm just going to basically give you guys a good rundown. Maybe we'll fire it up and let it run a minute. See. All right, clear. If you guys been watching my channel for a while, you remember I had a red 98 Suburban, and when we first moved to this property, I parked it right here for 2 days. Started up, got underneath the hood, and a 5-foot long rat snake on the side of it. So I'm pretty cautious when I open these hoods now. But anyway, bring it in here and show you what we're working with. Alright, so like I told you, the previous guy, which he would have been second owner, but he didn't keep it very long, so I'm going to be second owner that it's registered to. He did a little work to it. Now, like I said, this thing was going to be junked. They were going to just send it over the scales, which I'm so glad this guy came across it, because what we got is the original 350. You got the Quadra junk. If none of y'all know anything about these Quadrajets, they are awesome carburetors. You can do anything with them, including tune them down to run for better mileage or crank them up and get some horsepower. They're just a pain in the butt to tune, so a lot of people don't like messing with it. You know, it's not a plug and play. A lot of people don't like messing with it. But anyway, 350, 400 turbo trans. So that's the 3-speed automatic. And what the guy did before me is he rebuilt that carb. He put a new alternator on it, battery, and he went ahead and went with the electric fuel pump. And he's got it set up nice, you know. I don't remember if he said the fuel pump was bad or if he just wasn't getting fuel, went ahead and just threw this on there. So I'm kind of glad he did, because if there's anything dirty in there, we were getting it out already. So new distributor, plug and wires, he did all that. So it will fire and run as long as she's got juice. And I drove it from about 5 miles over that way, and I drove it, and probably the roughest drive I've done in I don't know how many years. So what we had going on was, of course, these tires are shot. You can see that. And these rear ones, looks like when they, maybe just before they parked it, put some new tires on it, but they sat so long that they had flat spots on them. So I was driving, this thing was just doing this the whole time. No bed on the back or anything like that, so it was just rough as could be. I think I got a little bit of footage, but it was one of those things where I had to get off work, hurry, go get it home, and then be ready in case I got called out. So a buddy that I work with, and I picked it up and I drove it home real fast, and we got ready to go back to work. So anyway, I know a good reason why it rode rough too. So let me take you in for some more of that. All right, like I said, these tires are crap. So rough spots, and they had flat spots on the tread even with them aired up, and it was just bouncing like crazy. And then I drove it in the backyard some here with the munchkins, and was out here looking at it one day and discovered something. So watch this. Completely shot. So that cab was just there bouncing all over creation. So on top of the stiff 3/4 ton springs, flat spots on the tires, I had that going on for me. So I really couldn't get over like 10 miles per hour. So the whole reason this truck was parked, and it was parked back in 2002. Still got the plate on it. Good old Okie plate, 2002. The whole reason it was parked was for this right here. This carrier bearing looked bad. You can see it right there. Looks pretty rough. That's the whole reason it was parked. So that just goes to show you sometimes people just really get tired of messing with things, and this truck probably did so much work, it's unbelievable, but they just didn't want to mess with it anymore, and they got parked. Hence, they've been sitting, this one almost 20 years, 19 years. And people like us come across them, and there's really a lot of work that needs to go into this thing. But what scares people the most is knowing it sat there 19 years and think it's just junk, let's just take it across the scales. Not true. And the guy that I got it from proved that by getting it running, and we proved it by me driving it home in the condition it's in, knowing it needs a ton of work, but it's still good to go. So I'm going to take you through, show you the inside of it. We'll get underneath it and look a little bit, and then I already came across a bed. Now I've had this thing about 3 weeks, and I already came across a bed, and I think we might be able to actually just save the old patina look and not have to go through and repaint the whole thing. I'd like to keep it looking kind of like this, but get it running really good. So anyway, I'm going to take you through the truck now. Okay, so you got obvious body lines way off. You got rust in the door, rust on the rockers, which is common. And then the cab corners are starting to go too. All completely common with these body styles. Especially, you know, Oklahoma, when I was a kid, they used to run salt on the roads, and they started doing sand when it would snow. We don't get the horrible winter weather every year, but every so often we get it like we did this previous year, where it's nothing but ice storms and snowstorms and blizzards. And so anyway, they use sand, but back in the day they used salt. So work trucks like this that spend a lot of time on county roads and things like that get a lot of that clay in there, and it's not uncommon to see a lot of this. So similar to what you see up north with all the salt, we get a little bit of that, and it starts in these little corners here and just builds its way up. And it also gets up in here from getting in and out of your seat with dirty work boots and stuff like that, you know, mud and everything else. So it's gonna need rockers on both sides, and then the floorboards are bad all the way up to about here, close to where that cab bolt is. So we'll get to replacing those. And I know for a fact that I was actually hanging on to this window with my arm up here like that, afraid it was going to shatter on me. It was riding so rough. So, and I couldn't roll it down, didn't have the crank, so I was just happy to get that sucker home. So the seat obviously torn, but it's in way better shape than I had expected. Probably the worst steering wheel I've ever seen like ever. I mean, this thing looks like it was sitting outside with the top cut off of it. Weather strip is bad, but the gentleman I got it from already bought some for it and he gave it to me, which is really nice of him. She's showing 26,000 miles, so probably rolled over at least once with the amount of work it's done. Everything's still in here. It's an AC cab, which is awesome. I've got the AC compressor down there we could exchange for a new one. Dash mat is completely gone, which is not surprising, but all the instrument cluster works. Everything works on it like it should. I do believe even the blower motor and everything else works. I'll have to dig into that further, but let's see if we can get some juice to it and start it up and let you guys see it. Go ahead and check the oil on it. I know it's got a transmission leak, so we'll check, make sure we got enough fluid to be messing with it. See what the oil looks like. Yeah, that's going to need to be changed. Alright, now before any of y'all even get started hating on me, yes, I know it needs to be warm in order to see the level, but I'm not one of those that wants to start one of these things up. You see it's got plenty. I'm not one that wants to start one of these things up, come to find out it's empty and I'm sitting there burning the pump up. So I don't give a crap if it's warm or cold. I want to know if there's fluid in it. On there, hating on everybody. It's fine. We kind of enjoy it because we're the ones enjoying doing the work. So hate all you want. We like it. Okay. Yeah, could use a little antifreeze, but it'll be fine for now. Go ahead and wire up this fuel pump, and it is wired to the ignition. I just don't have it wired up underneath here right, so I don't like keeping it on. Get that hooked up, see if we got enough power to get it rolled over, see if she'll crank up the fire. Emergency start. Yep, this is an emergency. Not quite enough power. Plenty of juice. Alright, we'll let that charge a little bit and come back to it. Alright, so trip hazard. So with these things, what a lot of people can't stand, they got so many linkages on them, it's unbelievable. So these quadrajets are really good because you can run them pretty lean, and you can just adjust these linkages where you're running mainly just off the front two barrels, so almost like running a two barrel. Now if you really want to get a little more power out of it, these big butterflies in the back, really, I mean, you hear that sucker open up. It's unbelievable. So what you run into a lot is a lot of these linkages bend, they break, and it's tough to get them adjusted right, so people don't like messing with them. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. This here controls those back barrels, so that's when you really open it up and get some power. Well, it's just kind of hanging free there. Right down here, see if I can, is how it opens up. And that little linkage right there obviously is broken or not connected, so that's one of the many things we're going to have to work on with it. Got the charger on the battery. Didn't have quite enough juice to roll her over, and it's cold natured. It's going to take a little bit, so don't have a switch hooked up for this yet, so I'm just hooking it underneath the hood. I don't plan on keeping it. I already bought a manual pump for it and some other parts. I also bought that carrier bearing for it. So really just want to get it started up and let you guys see it run and see the potential we got working with it. And I got one more thing to show at the end of that, but let's worry about getting her started right now. Well, I patiently waited like, I don't know, 2 minutes. So let's see if it's got enough juice to start now. Hear the clickety-clack going? Yeah, she's cold-natured. I don't know if you can see the smoke yet, but you can hear some kind of ticking underneath the hood. And notice, look how that, let's try to get you in there a little better. Look how that alternator is just swaying back and forth. I have to look into that, either not bolted up good or maybe not the right amount of washers or shims. Hear a little bit of an exhaust leak, and we've got a substantial oil leak right there already. So just some little things we're going to have to get working on, but overall, fires up and runs. Hear the clickety-clack going? Yep, she's cold-natured. Somewhat warmed up and idling now. Not bad. Sounds like all the plugs are firing. Not bad at all. Here's some passenger side. You can see that cab corner's a heck of a lot worse. Some damage on the door here. Fenders. All stuff I think it'll look really cool with it running down the road, but we got a lot of work to get to there. So there's that oil leak I was talking about. So it's going to need some valve cover gaskets at least. Still hearing a kind of a ticking noise that makes me think it's an exhaust leak on the manifold. But there's also a little bit of a, I don't know how to explain this, it's like a real light knock, but not really a knock. It sounds internal, but overall it sounds pretty good. I think we'll go ahead and look underneath it real quick, and then we'll shut her down because she's burning some oil right there. I'm gonna have to fix that leak. So we've got a big time transmission leak down here. And looks like it's just right here on the line, and it's coming out big time. So I'm gonna have to shut her down for now and then assess and get some parts for it. So anyway, pretty bad leak there. Go reverse first. Fuel pump. Take our cable off so this battery doesn't go down. Something's draining it, or I don't know. So we know we got a bad oil leak over here. We know it's going to need another manual fuel pump because I don't like running. Well, I'm not a big fan of running the old clickety-clacks on them unless you can set up a whole regulator system, because I don't know if you guys remember my 64 Skylark did a few videos on. I put one on it because the pump went out on it, and the Buicks are so hard to find parts for. I just left it on there and I sold it with the electric pump, but without a regulator, it shoved so much at the bowl that the overflow was coming out, and I had gas all over it and didn't realize it. You know, one spark, we'd have had a heck of a fire. So we know it needs carburetor work on the linkages, which we can do. I do like those quadrajets, so I'll stick with it. We got a bad transmission leak down there I'm going to have to assess. Pretty bad oil leak on the valve covers. So that's going to be one of those things where we take this sucker and just wash the mess out of it and replace a few things. And then I got to figure out on this here what it is down there that's, it's almost like it needs a bushing in here to keep that from moving so much. So get that, and then I've got some parts for it I'll show you real quick. Stuff. Alright, got some parts I want to show you guys. So like I said, previous owner got weather stripping. There's a whole deal of it right there. Alright, so we can give it to me. Manual fuel pump. So we'll get that sucker put on. The $29 part that this truck was parked for back in 2002. Got it right there. Had it on the shelf. And power steering belt. No power steering on it right now. One more thing. I actually forgot. So this is a vacuum modulator for that 400 turbo tram. So when I drove it, it wouldn't come out of first gear. I remembered back in the day on some of these that the vacuum line from the intake manifold that goes down to your transmission, if those ever went bad or fell off or broke or whatever, you could manually shift it up to the 2 gears, but this one wouldn't do it at all. So the guy I got it from had also bought a vacuum modulator and never got to get to it. So I spoke with a good buddy of mine I used to work with in Texas, and he kind of told me how to work with these. He's a really good transmission guy, so I'll probably try that on the next video too. But next video, we're going to install all these parts except for the weather strip, because I ain't doing that until I figure out all the door jazz and all the floors and everything we're going to do. But I'm going to get rockers for it, and I'm going to do it the right way. and take my time and do it right, get some good floors in it, because this is a good old truck. And for now, get it back together, kind of keep this cool old tone and patina it's got. Patina is what everybody calls it, so kind of keep that going. And like I said earlier in the video, I found a bed for it, and I am just completely shocked. I think I've almost matched the color, so let me show you. So here's a good look at the rust and the blue color it used to have that's faded, and the patina is taking it over. So I looked around and came across some really nice guys about 2 hours away from me that they rebuild these trucks in some square bodies. Man, they had a ton of them. So I sent the guy a picture, said, you wouldn't happen to have, I was just looking for a bed, I said, you wouldn't happen to have one close to this color? And I sent him a picture of this truck, and the next day he sends me a picture of this. No, not the bottom of it. I had to unload that myself, so give me a break. So this color is pretty dang good, and it's got the patina on top. I mean, I can really work with this. The difference is this one had the side moldings, whereas for that truck didn't. And I believe this one came off a 69 or a 70 model, but it was also a 3/4 ton. The shape it's in is great. Underneath here, which you don't ever really pay attention to, it's got a couple dents, no big deal. Rust right here, all the way through, of course. All this, and they did it the right way. They just unplugged it, so I can put lights back on it. I mean, awesome. Left the tail lights in it, reverse lights. A lot of people don't do that. Would have been fun to do this truck, parked since '91, but I'm happy to have that one. Just got typical little dents here and there, and left over from where the moldings were at one point in the trim. Dent here, nothing bad. And this here, and man, they gave me a good deal on price, because he was worried that this would scare me off. And I mean, the shape of it, he described it like it was not in that good a shape. He just said decent. I think it's in really good shape. A dent right here, dent right here, it's not bad. And then it's got these holes in it where they had a gas tank in the back of it, because you know these run behind the seat, so that's kind of where the rust on the front came from. But overall, it's in good shape, so I'm hoping to build myself a cart to set that on, and also build one for that Model A body, because soon I'm going to have a shop in the works right here, finally. So I'm working out here on the ground. I've worked in the garage and that 2-car a little bit in the driveway, but things like this are just too messy for that nice garage and driveway. So I'll be glad to get that and get it put in and get concrete floor and electricity and all that good stuff, and a spot just for my welder where it's not constantly spitting, spattering on me and all that crap. Anyway, back to this truck. Plan, just to kind of keep it the way it is. I want to get it running, driving, of course. It does run and drive, but it is not good right now. So I want to repair the things that are on it. The carrier bearing, which, like I said, it was parked 19 years ago because of the carrier bearing. It cost me $29. Get the power steering belt on it. Fix that oil leak on the valve cover. Fix the transmission leak. Work on the stuff for that Quadrajet to try to get it where you can tune it, because man, I'm telling you, they're awesome when they're tuned. And then maybe do some suspension work. We'll see when I get that far. In my mind, I already see it lowered a little bit, running really good, and have that bed on it that matches. So we'll just go a piece at a time. I'll probably go ahead and order rockers and floorboards for it and some cab corners, so we can do that metal work eventually. I'll probably put them aside until my shop's built. That way I can pull it in there and do it right. And yeah, that's pretty much the direction on it. So appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. It doesn't cost you nothing. Just go ahead and do it. We got a lot more coming on this. The rat rod that's sitting out there, we got a lot coming on it. I was looking at it and I'm just not happy with it. So we're going to do a lot of different work to it. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.